Growing up, one of my most beloved anime was Assassination Classroom. I know it may sound cheesy and goofy, but for a child me who was constantly alone all the time because of my anxiety and a specific skin condition, I hated school from the bottom of my heart. Add to that the absolute hypocritical teachers of the school I studied in, and you got the perfect recipe for an outcast. In every sense of the word, unfortunately. But seeing Core Sensei as a teacher be with and help grow this class of complete outcasts and unwanted children really flicks some switch in my massive skull of infinite knowledge. Assassination Classroom really did give me a classroom, one which I didn't really have in real life, and a teacher unlike I had had since 4th grade. So it always did piss me off when I would see the topic greatest teachers in anime pop up on a YouTube video and Core Sensei wasn't the #1 pick. Instead, it was always, and I mean always, this guy.
Out on the guard, waiting for the right to appear. You got me lonely, lonely, I can't hold it in. Fiery passion, the heat on my skin. Lonely, lonely, I'm a bad on a hell. Maybe love was a gift and you gave it to him.
Assassination Classroom holds a very dear place in my heart, and I will dedicate a separate video to it soon, so make sure to like and subscribe for it. But for right now, let's talk about the man of the hour, Kichi Onizuka. Great Teacher Onizuka is a manga written and illustrated by Toru Fujisawa, I hope I said that right, and it follows the life of our main character Kichi Onizuka, a legendary bike gang member whose name echoes through the years of every delinquent. But that's not exactly the man we follow. When we meet Onizuka, he has already left his gang days behind and is looking up the skirts of high schoolers under an escalator. Okay. But I guess we can brush that off to the side because this man wants to be a teacher. Huh? A teacher who instills inspiration and motivation into their students, imparting wisdom that they themselves have accumulated and paving a better path for the future generation by being a role model. But as you must have guessed already, Onizuka is none of that. Instead, Onizuka is becoming a teacher for the sole reason of getting a young wife. Yes, I promise it gets better though, just give me a sec. And honestly, this was the part of the show that really put me off on my first viewing. Him sitting under an escalator and looking up skirts isn't the mid-scene of a later episode. It isn't even the middle scene of the first episode. Instead, it is the first scene of the first episode. And the show does tone down on the nude aspects. I mean never completely. But to a certain degree, it does tone it down. But it is prevalent to a skin-crawling degree in the first few episodes, which caused me to never really watching the show for a very long time. But then I started doing YouTube, and I thought to myself, well, since I'm talking about stuff I like anyways, why don't I watch more stuff that I may potentially like? Especially after seeing literally every single AniTuber talk about how this show changed their life and taught them how to live. I just had to give it a shot. Just one last time. And oh boy, was that a good decision. Now on paper, the concept of a teacher going to a class of, absolute monsters and reforming them to get their lives in check while teaching them valuable life lessons along the way sounds corny and generic to say the least. Most of all, it sounds like a feel-good story. And you know what? That's exactly what it is. GTO doesn't try to be a romance plot or an action flick or a slice of life. I mean, it kinda is, but still. It doesn't bombard you with amazing visual spectacles or an over-the-top plot twist, though the plot twists are usually really funny, but my point being, this show is what it is, and it does what it does in the best way it knows how to. Whether that be perverted jokes or disgusting faces, it never hides its true self, much like Onizuka himself actually, which is quite funny to think about. But getting into something which I had said before, by the way, is the kids. And as I mentioned before, the classroom Onizuka is the homeroom teacher to is class 3-4, previously class 2-4, which is infamous for one thing and one thing only, completely ruining the lives of any homeroom teacher that comes to the class. And it's not in the traditional anime bullying style either. These guys have driven previous homeroom teachers to almost offing themselves, and a 100% rate of giving them depression. And again, not in a generic anime way either. I won't spoil anything here, but as I said before, these guys are absolute monsters. The shit they pulled in the first episode of their introduction itself would have given me depression. If you've seen, you know how brutal these guys are. But unfortunately for them, and quite fortunately for the rest of their lives, Onizuka isn't just some everyday normal guy. The former Onibaku, the man who took out 20 guys at the same time without a scratch, deals with this problem by not giving a fuck about it and solving all the problems the students of the class cause him by himself. Like a teacher should. He takes responsibility. Now, obviously, I'm not expecting a real teacher to take responsibility to this extent, but oftentimes, especially here in the West, teachers just sorta leave you be. They don't really care about your problems at all, and in most cases, they are an active reason for a lot of pain and sadness in the lives of the very students they are meant to be a guiding figure to. And ever since their introduction, we see that these kids were also treated this way by a teacher. Now again, the stunts class 3 pulls are, quite frankly, going too far, and to no degree should anyone expect a person to tolerate all of this, especially with a smile, but to some degree, it is their responsibility to put up with our shit. We were kids, and we needed a guiding figure in our lives during the 6 hours of our day we were forced to attend school. But when all we got was a spat on our face, to a certain degree, you kind of get these kids too, and you get where they're coming from. And the main theme of GTO revolves around this central theme, the effort put in by Onizuka to let these kids of class 3-4 and us see hope in a teacher, and he has to go through most of the most devious roster of his class, and he has to do it one by one to get them to see the hope in a teacher. Okay, but really, these students are fucking monsters. Just look at this one. This is literally Johan. Like, come on, they even have the same expressions. But again, fear not, cause their teacher is Onizuka, which not so smoothly leads into my next point, Onizuka's character. Onizuka is a character who has already completed his development as a character before the show even starts, and where the show is centered around Onizuka helping these troubled kids and finding hope and guidance in a teacher. The students are the ones who display Onizuka's development throughout his early years to us, the viewer, in real time. A lot of times I have heard people say, if a character is done developing, they should no longer be part of the story. And I could never counter-argue against it. Yes, on paper it seems to be the case entirely that a character who has ended their journey shouldn't be someone we follow. I mean, it inherently is shooting yourself in the foot as a writer. Added to that, I'm not exactly a literature major, and I could never disprove this. And also, I couldn't be bothered to look it up, but never mind. But inherently, I just knew in some way that it's not always the case. And now, after watching GTO, I can confidently point to the character that can help me in this argument. But aside from all of that technical mumbo-jumbo, this guy, he's just so cool. Like, this man is Dante levels of cool. And I don't hand out that praise like that frequently. As first he might come off as funny and reckless, but when you get to see him pop off with his philosophies, it really throws you in for a loop. Now don't get me wrong, this man is definitely a pervert. To an unsettlingly gross degree, especially with the faces he makes. But at the end of the day, he's one of the wisest and nicest people you will ever meet. And throughout watching and reading the show, I found the best thing I like about Onizuka is his honesty. Now don't get me wrong, this guy definitely does lie and hide like he's a complete sleazeball, but where his honesty truly shines is in how genuine he is to himself, which is also one of the core themes of the series. It's to never lie to yourself or follow what others' expectations are. You gotta be true to yourself. Even though he's a perverted clown, he never tries to hide that fact, that no matter who you are, you should always treat other people nicely. I mean, relatively. And again, the greatest one of all, to always be true to yourself. Honestly, I can't really do justice to Onizuka as a character here. Like, the more I say about him, the less it becomes. This man is a real G, man. Like, he's already one of my most favorite protagonists of all time. He's a mentor type figure, not just to the characters in the series, but to us as well. And not like in the nagging parent kind of way, but in a cool older brother kind of way. Man, I love Onizuka so much. If you haven't read or watched it yet, please go and watch it. The anime has a cool 90s charm to it, and both the dub and sub are good. And the manga holds up to this day perfectly. In fact, I kinda like the manga a little more. Like, even though there is so much dialogue in it, you are just so engrossed in it that you always feel like reading it. And it never lets you get bored, because there are always some fun jokes sprinkled around at exactly the right time. It was genuinely so much fun to watch it, and it was so much fun to get to chill with Onizuka. And I'm pretty sure you're gonna like it too. But... fuck, my mic fell down. But that will be all for now, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and while you're at it, let me know down below in the comments, what was your favorite moment of the show, and why? It's always fun to see new perspectives from you guys. Tell me in depth, I'll kinda enjoy it. I always like listening to you guys. But anyways, that will be all for now, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Peace, God bless you.